I'm not talking loud enough just to use a hand gesture, so to reach over and smack. Either one works. Good boy. Good. You ready? Hi, welcome to the zoo's home safari. My name is Mike, and I'm one of the caregivers here at Night Hunters. And our responsibility is to take care of the cougars. Joining me today is my fellow workers. Danielle, who is over on the other side, taking the cougar, keeping the other cougar occupied. Erin is also here. She's going to help assist me. All right, we're here to talk about the cougars. Give you a little bit of update on them. All right, these are our two boys. They are both 9 years old. This is Tech, or that's short for Tecumseh. Over on the other side is Joseph. We also call him short for Joe. They have been here since they were about 6 years of it, or about 6 weeks of age. And they were kind of brought in to work in this exhibit when it was brand new. They were both given names of chiefs of local Native American tribes. Joseph over there is named after one of the chiefs named Joseph, and Tecumseh was chief of the Shawnee. Cougars used to be native to Ohio. That's something you guys can look up. Unfortunately, people are the reason why they're not there anymore. Cougars are only found, technically, west of the Mississippi River. However, they have the greatest range of all land or terrestrial mammals on the Western Hemisphere. Their habitats range from up into Canada to all the way down to the tip of South America. Now, because they have such long ranges, you can imagine how many different names people can come up with each different country. There's currently about 70 different names that folks will call these guys. We use the name cougar. However, there are a couple other names, and I'll put that out there to see if you guys can come up with a couple extra names for cougars. Now, again, I said they kind of are all west of the Mississippi, except for one small population in the southern tip of Florida. That's called the Florida Panther. They're the last surviving, and they're a critically endangered species. There's only about 50 of those left. Now, Tech and Joe, they both weigh about 100 and somewhere between 120, 130 pounds. And we're going to go through some little training procedures here. And these are the little things that we just teach them to get them started with. One of them is basically to sit up and lay down. So we're going to try. Get them to lay down. Good boy. Oh. That's not working. There you go. Next one, we're going to get him to sit up. Sit. There you go. All right. Now we do this to get them kind of going in a routine. So little simple things like sit, lay down, sit up. But some of the things we teach them is to help with their care. We want to make sure we check out their claws, which can get kind of ingrown. So we want to make sure we have a look at them. So what we teach them is to give us their paw, so we can take a look at them. Sit up. Oh. Look at that. Good boys. Sometimes they anticipate what you want, and you gotta kind of mix it up a little bit. Get the paw. Good boy. All right. This next one is we get them to stand up so we can look at their belly. Don't munch your paw. Stand up. We also get to look at both of them. We can look at their belly, see if there's anything going on there, any cuts or scrapes that might be going on. All right. Do we have any questions coming in yet?
Yes. Alex wants to know if they are afraid of humans.
In the wild, most likely they are. However, there have been some fatal encounters with cougars. You have to kind of be cautious when you're out there when you're in their natural habitat. But generally, they do shy away from people.
Abigail wants to know what's the difference between a cougar and a puma.
That was my big question I sent out to everybody. There's no difference. They are the same. It's just where they come from and what name they give them. Puma is almost a common name in South America. In North America, we tend to use cougar. And I did put out a challenge to see if folks can come up with other two names that we kind of use here.
Well, Hattie had one of them, mountain lion.
Mountain lion, excellent.
Haven't seen another one yet. Mabel wants to know what their strongest sense is.
Their smell. Their smell and their hearing. Smell, hearing, and sight. All that combined to make them an excellent hunter.
Allison wants to know what is their favorite food.
Their favorite fruit in the wild is basically anything you can catch is dinner. They do prefer to get larger prey like deer. However, they are an opportunist. They will not pass up a meal if they can catch something. Obviously, a bigger cat can't live on squirrels or one rabbit a day. So they try and get bigger like deer to help sustain them. That meal will last them for several days as they tend to make a big kill. They will bury it and go back and eat on it later. All right. Now we did this. We're going to try and do a high five. Give me a high five. There you go. These are my good boys.
Amy wants to know how long their tail is.
Oh, their tail is probably almost as long as their body. These guys are very good jumpers, and that tail is used to balance. Jumping from area or rock to rock or tree to tree or tree limb to tree limb. That's a big long counterbalance that helps swing left and right, helps keep them maintain their balance.
Tony wants to know, do they ever chew their food or just swallow?
When you see a cat who looks like he's chewing, they're actually just cutting their food up into a smaller chunk to swallow whole. They don't necessarily chew. So if you see them kind of working it back and forth, they're not chewing, you're just kind of cutting it up into a smaller chunk that they can swallow.
A lot of people would like to know who their favorite keeper is.
Oh, that's a good question. It's really hard to say. Danielle, who was working over there with Joseph, is their lead trainer, and I would say they're most fond of her. They have been pro women for a long time, though they do respond to me.
Sam from North Carolina would like to know why the tail has a black tip.
That's an excellent question. I don't think I know the answer to that one. It's an adaptation that works for whatever reason, and you could probably find variations in that depending on the part of the world they come from.
Caleb wants to know if cougars are endangered.
It depends. In the United States, the Florida panther, which we talked about a little earlier, is critically endangered. However, in the western states, they're not considered an endangered species, and unfortunately, they're still allowed to be hunted.
Joe wants to know if Panther is one of the other names.
It certainly is. That's also a derivative or a change of the name. They used to be called Panthers, and that kind of got changed to Painters also.
Can they swim?
They can swim.
Why are their whiskers so long?
That's another good question. Somebody's watching. Whiskers play a very important part in cats. The whiskers can help detect spaces they need to go through with their head. Those work and they stick out. Helps detect a lot of brush and stuff. So they know that they can get squeezed through it. If not, they're usually says, oh, I can't fit through here. But it also works as a feeler. Not necessarily very sensitive, touch sensitive, but they work in kind of unison. I'm going to answer some more questions, and Aaron's going to come in and kind of keep tech occupied with a little blood tube here.
Lucy would like to know what they like to play with.
Oh, they play with a lot of variety of toys that we give them. Some of them are just something simple, like in our yard today. We have just some paper out there that they will play with. If you have a cat at home, and sometimes if you throw a big wad of newspaper, they'll play with that. We also like to give them different kind of scents. Since their sense of smell is important to them, we will put things like perfumes, different scents. We've even used deer scents. We've also given them toys. They have balls that they play with. We have some barrels that we put out there. We try and rotate those stuff in so they don't kind of get too bored with it. So we kind of move them in and out. We will give them extra different food when we can, different food items.
What do you look for when checking their paws and belly? Charlotte wants to know.
Another good question. We're looking at the claws. We want to make sure the claws, cats naturally will keep their claws trimmed. They kind of grow. However, sometimes if they don't keep up on them, their claws will actually grow into their pads and actually puncture into their pad. So we're checking to make sure they're keeping their claws trimmed up just fine. And if we need to make any intervention in there and possibly trim them up for them. We're looking at their belly since a lot of times they just sit down on the ground a lot. So we need to look and make sure there's no scrapes or cuts or hair loss or anything like that.
What are they eating right now?
That is just simply a blood cube. It's just blood that we freeze, and they like to lick on it and chew on them. It's one of their favorite toys.
Ember wants to know how high they can jump.
Another excellent question. They are excellent jumpers. It's been reported that they could jump up vertically about 20 feet. It depends on where you come from, but they are considered very excellent jumpers and climbers. And their back legs are stronger to give them that ability. All right, I want to give a shout out to Christy Hanger. She sent the zoo a thank you card, and we ended up getting it here at Night Hunters, and we want to say we appreciate it. And it's been brings a smile to our face when our folks who can't come to the zoo send a little bit of a greeting to us and say thank you for all we're doing. And thank you, Christy, for your card. Now we do have an activity. It's kind of like if you want to do at home. We can kind of make a cougar print for yourself, kind of compare it to your hand. You can look it up on the zoo's website. They have all that stuff. So that's kind of an activity. You can also try and look up how many different names there are for cougars out there, and be really surprised how many you can find. So we do like to say thank you for joining us, and if you feel the need to, please donate. We can always use a little bit of money. We are taking care of our animals every day, and every little bit helps. So if you feel inclined, please donate a little bit.